KC Fowler, one half of the Fowlers podcast, host of the Melanin Warriors podcast, bringing you yet another Melanin Warrior. Today we're talking about Madison, Washington. So Madison, Washington was an American slave who led a slave rebellion on November 7th, 1841. On a slave ship called the Big Creole that at the time was transporting about 134 slaves from Virginia to New Orleans. This was during what they called the coastwise slave trade, which sent slaves from all over, starting in Virginia to New Orleans, where new cotton plantations were being created, and they needed the labor of the melanin people. So on that night, Madison, Washington led 18 melanin rebels. They started by killing a slave trader, which he doesn't deserve to be named here on the Melanin Warriors podcast. So let's just move on. And they restrained the crew. They then had control of the Creole. They commanded that they sail to Nassau. At this time, it was a British colony. So the reason they wanted to go here was that the British already abolished slavery, even though the Americans protested it. The melanin people were considered free once they're on the British soil of Nassau, and the British refused the demands of America, saying, "Hey, we need you to return these melanin people." The British wasn't going for that. They said, "They're here now. We're not going to hand them back over to you because they're freed people here." So, but Washington and his followers were taken by the British government, and they were being charged with mutiny as soon as they hit grounds in Nassau, which is an open rebellion. And if you guys don't know what mutiny is, it's an open rebellion against the proper authorities, especially by soldiers or sailors against other officers, for those who didn't know that already. Okay, let's move on. So Admiralty Court heard the case and ruled in favor of the Melanin Warriors, and they were freed on April 1842. The other 116 melanin people also received their freedom directly after Washington and the others were free of the mutiny charges. Only 5 melanin people remained on the ship and returned to slavery. Now let's pause there for 1 minute. Those 5, I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're stupid, they're this, but slavery really brainwashed a lot of people. You know, they felt like master treated them good, and you know what I'm saying? They were so brainwashed and fearful that they did what they were supposed to do, like train robots or something, and just went on back into slavery. But that's neither here nor there. But 128 melanin people were now free, making this the greatest slave rebellion in the history of the U.S. I know this is not going to be in history books. Of course, it's not going to be in history books. But Madison, Washington, great melanin warrior, guys. So not too many details as far as the historical accounts of this particular incident. However, this is an example of standing for something. Madison, Washington refused to remain a slave, and he and his fellow melanin brothers came together, and the results was 128 free melanin people. That is why Madison, Washington, leader of the most successful rebellion in the U.S., is truly a melanin warrior. This is your boy, KC Fowler, one half of the Fowlers podcast, host of the Melanin Warriors podcast. And remember, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. I'm out.